It's called EPIC, the Exotic Pet Industry Conference, and it's free to register at epic.live. EPIC is over 20 special guests across 16 sessions covering industry trends, marketing, branding, podcasting, and YouTube. EPIC is for pet keepers and breeders. It's for gecko and invert lovers. It's for snake and spider lovers. EPIC is for anyone who enjoys these amazing animals. Did I mention it's free? Register now at epic.live.
Texoma Exotics presents Not Another Reptile podcast.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Doing good. What's going on?
What's up, YouTube?
I'm just sitting here. I'm saving some images from our amazing guest today. I'll let y'all kind of shoot the shit for a minute and let me get this done.
Yeah, no, you're good. I don't think either of us have comment privileges. So, Travis, how was your week, man?
Oh, my week has been pretty busy. I've spent every evening after work working on the snake room, getting that ready, building the ARS rack right now, about halfway through on level 5. So,
Wow.
first couple were hard because I'm like, this directions leave a little bit out here. What does this piece do? What the hell's this? Do they go? Okay. Once I got that figured out, I'm rocking and rolling now. So get that all set up and everything. This was so much bigger a bite that I expected to try to chew on. Yeah. But I'm getting it done. It'll be so nice when it's done. I'll be moved in there. I won't look like I'm in a dungeon with olive drab paint behind me, which I love olive drab, but as you guys can tell, it sucks on the podcast. This is terrible.
I think your image looks great, dude. You worry about nothing. You worry about nothing.
I'm very good looking. I know that, but I still need, a decent background behind me.
So, how long do you think you got until you'll be moved into the room?
I am trying to get it done so that I can get moved in by this weekend.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Nice.
I've been working on this for, I think, about a month, ever since my daughter and her husband moved out. I ripped that wall. I ripped 2 sections of wall out, painted, did flooring, reran electrical, the whole 9 yards. Turns out I'm not bad at lathe texturing, by the way.
There you go.
I'm pretty good at that. So, we don't have the spray-on texture out here. We've just got the troweled on texture, and I'm like, well, let's see if I can duplicate this. And man, I did pretty good. So, granted, went over it with dark paint, so you can't really tell.
Right.
Nonetheless, it's going to look good. I got stars and stripes theme up on the walls. Kind of doing the Americana theme. To go with the logo and the motif and all that stuff.
Right.
So, and I got 15, 16 snakes coming in. People pinging me, hey, can I ship? Hey, can I ship? So I'm like, crap, I got to get everything ready. So, yeah, and then we've all been sick. So, wife had pneumonia. She's down there helping paint, coughing her lung up.
Oh,
poor wife. Yeah, her life sucks, man. She's got to deal with me and then, 2 kids, 3 kids, I guess.
I would rather deal with 2 kids and you than you. Okay, I'm just saying that. I feel for your wife. I love her already. I've never met her, but I do feel sorry for her.
Yeah, I feel sorry for her too because I lose my mind. I mean, I got hit in the head a lot as a kid. I boxed for years, so my brain is it's already mush. B, I have ADHD on top of it, and C, I'm a Gemini, so I chase any shiny object already.
Oh my gosh.
I got to make a list for everything. She tells me more than 2 things at the store. I make a list because the third thing I won't remember. That's simple. Look at that. That's an ugly SOB right there.
No.
I had to make another dude. Hey, Sammy, what's up?
What's going on, Sammy?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Mr. P. Glad to have you in the house, sir.
That's my Tinder buddy.
Mr. Josh, I hope all is well. I'm sorry I couldn't ship your snake out this week. It just didn't happen for us. It was not in the clouds.
Hopefully it goes better than my shipment to him, because that was not
Yeah.
fun.
B-Lock, how's it going? And of course, our wonderful guest, Jordan. Hey, everybody, excited to be here. Jordan, we are so excited for you to be here, honestly. And Mr. James. Oh, why is this not popping up for me? There it goes. What's up, James?
Say James.
Tara.
Miss Tara's in the house. Hi, Miss Tara. How is it going? Always, Bods always shows up. Jeremy, how's it going, man? Glad you can make it for us.
He thinks I'm hot. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know what his next comment is after that, but you know,
Yeah,
one.
We won't worry about it right yet.
I can't believe Tinley snuck up on me like real quick. So
I'm so jealous that Joe gets to go to Tinley. I'm stuck here in Oklahoma, Southern Oklahoma, sitting here going, "Oh, my friends are in Tinley."
that's
So who is going to Tinley? If you're in the chat, let me know if you're going. So me and Tyler and Pete we can all roll around together.
I know Pete wanted me to go too, y'all.
I think we all wanted.
Yeah, we did want Holly to go.
October.
Yeah. October, maybe. I can't promise anything. I am going to go ahead and bring out our guest just so he can shoot the shit with us, y'all. Here's Jordan from Heartland Reptiles.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Jordan, how's it going?
Good. I'm excited to be here and chat with you y'all.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you, man.
You've got some pretty awesome products that you're making there. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, thank you.
He really does. So this last Dallas show, do you remember what month it was, Jordan?
I want to say October.
See, that's what I'm thinking, October. So Tyler went to the show at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
And he didn't go to the second one.
Correct.
Which I wanted to kick his butt for because I got to hang out with Tyler, right? So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and show off a few of your pictures.
Yeah, of course.
Y'all, he builds these enclosures. And I'm just going to let you kind of take it from here and explain your enclosures because I don't remember all the details. All I know is I need a house full of them.
Yeah, well, feel free to stop me if I ramble or rant with anything. But basically what you're seeing there, that was the St. Louis NARBC, I believe. But on the left, the long enclosure is a 6 foot by 2.5 foot deep, 2 foot interior height enclosure. All of them are powder coated aluminum, which I probably should have started with. That's the difference from what's out there on the market. And then on top of that is a lighter duty arboreal enclosure that I designed. I worked with Mark Hager. That picture shows the stack unit, which is 4 enclosures. And then what's next to it is the playground. So that's an accessory to the stack of enclosures, and it mounts to the side flush, but I have it angled like that so you can see the portholes that are on it. The goal with that is I work with dwarf and super dwarf retics, and I wanted to have a reasonable size enclosure, but give them expansion that they could all utilize without, having tons of 8 foot enclosures in my room. So that's just a playground that opens up to any one of those enclosures, and that way the snakes can get some actual climbing and vertical space. In my room, the stacks are 5 enclosures tall, so that's 7.5 feet by 2.5 feet deep by 18 inches wide. So it looks a little narrow, but that's only because of the flanges on the side and the windows. But man, they love to climb that. Those are the arboreal enclosures. I sold a dozen of each size to Mark Hager, and he's just been amazing to work with. He helped me to create the smaller design and what would work for chondros. I don't have experience with green tree pythons. And so those are a little bit more cost effective or cost friendly, as well as they're still the same powder coated aluminum, last forever kind of thing. The goal with those was to give as big a viewing window as possible. green tree pythons are just so beautiful. That's Mark's wall. So they're 30-inch by 18 by 18, and then the smaller ones are 18-inch cubes. But we just wanted to have basically as much of a full frontal opening for viewing as possible, but still have the strength and the lightweight that we could get. So
Yeah. Is that tempered glass?
yeah, it's all tempered glass. That's actually I sent that because I am dropping a new color. It's called Nocturnal Gold. It's a black with just a little bit of gold flake in it. I wanted a black enclosure so that, you know, most people have black PVC. And, you know, my white enclosures would potentially clash with what people have. So I wanted a black, but I wanted something that looked different. And I think looks a lot better. So it'll blend in with the black enclosures people have, but pop and I think look, you know, a lot nicer.
Right.
No, that's killer. And what have we got here?
That's just another of the color sample. They use those wavy panels to try and show, you know, the different ways the light's going to reflect off of it. So it'll mostly look black, except for where the light's showing, kind of like in those two little ridges where you see the gold flake popping out from the light reflection.
Yeah, I like that color better than the white, but if I were to put them in my snake room, the white would go with the motif much more than the dark and the gold. What did you call it? Midnight gold or
nocturnal gold is
nocturnal gold
color. I like white personally as well. I think it's easier to see the dirt. I'd rather see and know if it's dirty. And being powder coated, it's a baked on finish, so it's non-porous. Cleaning is so easy. I hated the way PVC stains. I mean, I know you can get it out, but I got too many snakes, and I'd rather spend the time with the animals, you know, than scrubbing on their enclosure while they're soaking in a tub. So,
Amen.
I'm guessing that you got into doing power coated aluminum for these enclosures because that has something to do with your day job.
Yeah, I've been in metal fabrication for about 20 years now. I started my first summer going to K-State. I worked at a metal fabrication company. I started in the parts fabrication department. As I was going to school, I, you know, worked there in the summers and worked in a handful of departments. I got into project management for them. Did that for almost 8 years, and now I'm on the quality side of things. I'm actually back at that same company. I left for 3 years or so and tried a few other things, but it's always been metal fabrication of some kind. So it was blending my career experience with the passion for the animals is how I landed on these. I felt like I could just make something better that would last longer.
Now I know that relative to PVC, powder coated aluminum is a lot more expensive. So what do you do to make yourself, I mean, first of all, you don't even have to talk about the quality. I mean, powder coated aluminum versus PVC just on a standalone is, you know, much better quality factor. But, you know, somebody like me, a small breeder that wants a really, really nice cage, but, you know, doesn't have the, you know, mega bucks to shell out for it, for example, how do you stay competitive with such, because that's a super high-end product right there.
Yeah. One of the things that I've done is I've worked closely with friends and coworkers that I've worked with over the years. I've implemented or employed a friend to do a lot of the design work. I mean, I know what I want for the enclosures, but he knows a better way to get to that end product, so to speak. So I've leaned on others' experience for help in that regard. But I have these produced either by the company I work for. I now have another company that is also local, and I work with them because I know the guy, you know, for the last 15 years. But it helps that I can do that. And if I get sick or something, production still goes on. You know, I'm a one-man show, so it helps ensure I don't miss lead times. But frankly, I keep my profit margin pretty minimal. I'm at this point, I'm trying to get them out there. I want people to just get them in their hands and see them. The smaller, lighter duty stuff, I do think I'm pretty competitive, especially for the material difference. The the 30 by 18 by 18 is $4.99, and a 4 by 2 by 2 is $6.99. I know there's a little bit more. I mean, I know you can get stuff for a lot less. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but I believe that for the really high end stuff that's out there, I'm competitive with that, and I believe even the really high end over time isn't going to last the same.
Yeah, and that 4 by 2 by 2, that is that all of the metal in that. That's all powder coated aluminum, right?
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
thing powder coated.
Is that bolt together, or is that soldered together? Like what do the joints look like? What does the manufacturing process look like?
Yeah, so it's riveted together to hold it in place. The big heavy duty stuff does get a lot of welding as well. The small stuff gets plug welds to hold the substrate dam and the little L brackets that just add some rigidity. But all of that's done up front and then powder coated the whole thing, so it's all sealed together basically.
Wow,
Gotcha.
that's pretty sharp. I would love to get one of those.
And really, when you see high-end animals, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to see them just thrown in an aquarium and be like, oh, here's my high-end animal. I want to see it in a high-end.
Yeah.
And he has them, honestly. Like, I seen these things in real life. I had to track Bobby down in Dallas and be like, come here. You've got to see this. Like, this is my dream. I want a whole wall back here. It's a small wall, but I want that wall done in his enclosures.
That's real sharp.
Sorry, cat.
So do you have a production facility, or do you do this, do you produce based on order out of your garage? Like, what does your operation look like?
Everything's made to order at this point. I do, now that I'm getting some kind of standard sizes, I'm getting a little bit of inventory, just a little bit out ahead, but all of this is out of pocket. So it's hard to put a bunch of money into inventory that either, I don't know when it's going to move, but also I'm consistently trying to improve and innovate on the design. So I really don't want to have a bunch of bulk, so that if something comes up and I realize I can make something better, I want those improvements incorporated in anything that anybody's getting. So
Frank wants to know where he can see these enclosures at.
The best place to see them right now is on my Instagram, Heartland Reptiles. There's some on Facebook. Adler is going to build my website for me. I do have heartlandreptiles.com. I've got the domain, but he's going to come down and get some professional photos of them and do the actual website building for me. I'm hoping to have that done
in person. Because, a lot of our breeders want to see it in person.
Yeah.
You're located in Texas, correct?
No, I'm in Kansas, but I do, other than Tenley, I would do Tenley, but I'm waitlisted. Other than Tenley, I'm at every NARBC show.
Okay.
So Dallas, you'll definitely be there.
Yep.
St. Louis.
That's where I met you at before.
Yeah.
There you go, Frank. You got to come to Dallas. You're just going to have to check at my house.
St. Louis.
No. Don't listen to Tyler.
Those are other good NARBC shows.
No, Frank, just come to Dallas. That I got a place for you to stay here. We got a big couch and I would say a spare bedroom, but my daughter is in there now. So,
well,
I'll also vend the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo in Kansas City. That's a newer show with a handful of locations. So I'm going to vend that as well. Yeah, I'm really excited to have a big, good show that's only an hour away from me.
Nice.
How far is St. Louis from you?
St. Louis is about 4. I'm about an hour west of KC.
And how far is are you doing Troy's North Carolina show?
No, I'd like to do some of those coastal shows, but it's just basically at this point with time off with full-time career, I'm limited to about 8-10 hour range.
Okay, awesome. I got 2 questions for you on them. So first off, do you do a lot of custom order stuff? Can someone hit you up and say they want whatever 8 foot by 6 foot by 5 tall and you can do it? Or is it you're kind of in a standard 4 by 2 by 2 and then those other 4 or 5 ones that you showed?
No, all of it started as custom. I mean, basically once I do a custom enclosure at that point, I can rebuild them, and the lead time is then basically 4 weeks. Yeah.
Right.
So the first run, if something's custom, I can definitely do it. But I just need more time to get through the
Right.
design process and all that.
And then the other thing I got for you is, have you ever thought of doing them, or maybe planning on doing rack system type stuff for balls, corns, boas, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've had quite a few people ask, and I'm definitely interested in looking into racks. At this point, I'm kind of just taking the lowest hanging fruit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just with time. I'm basically about 1.5 years into this venture, and so I'd like to do racks. Honestly, the biggest thing would be where I get my tubs, because most of the people that sell tubs sell racks and probably don't want to help me sell racks against them. So
Yeah, but they like to sell tubs. So if you buy 250 tubs, they're happy to sell them.
yeah,
They make more money on tubs. They make a lot of money on tubs.
well,
I think
I've looked at it. I've got a friend that I've talked to that potentially could help procure the same tubs, even potentially from the same overseas manufacturers. So I've looked and potentially have a line on how to directly procure them.
So besides building the enclosures, I know you're a reptile breeder also. What do you like? What do you have in your collection? What do you like to keep? What's your passion?
Everything is a retic of some sort. Well, I take that back. I have a hog nose. I have one Plains hog nose, and she was kind of the icebreaker of reptiles for my wife. I had designed this whole wall of basically a Tetris of different size enclosures that was going to span a whole wall. I wanted a tegu and a blood python and a red tail and like one of everything. And after my wife okayed getting another enclosure, or another animal, excuse me, after the hog nose, I was like, okay, well, I want the dwarf retic first, because then everything after that would be smaller. So I'll never have the problem of, well, it could get bigger than this if she's already on the fence about what I have.
That's my problem right now.
You don't want to mainland? No.
And I had my girl Mila for, I don't know, a couple of months maybe. And I literally crumpled up those drawings of all the enclosures and threw them away, because I was just blown away with the species. I fell in love with it. It was unlike any other reptile or animal I'd interacted with. And I've just been full bore ahead since. I'd love to have other stuff, and there's some stuff I may get in the future. But at this point, with the enclosures and, trying to do some breeding as well, if I took on more, I don't think I'd accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any clutches coming?
Not right now. I do have 2 females that I'm still feeding and hoping will go off food. I have a pure Coyote female that I got from Lucas Bagnera. I thought she was going to go. She swelled a little bit and then went down and went back on food. But I have a Sunfire Snow female that I'm hopeful will go. And then I have a Platinum Anery Sunfire female that's purple albino. And I've got a Motley Tiger Snow male that I would pair to both of them if they do cycle.
Wait, the Motley Tiger is a morph in the dwarfs, or that are you like at 75% dwarf?
These are still dwarf percentages. Okay. The Motley Tiger Snow male is considered, he classifies as super dwarf. He's 50% Calatoa. The Sunfire Snow is like 43.75% Calatoa, so she's technically dwarf. That being said, the other girl, the Anery Platinum Sunfire, she's a smaller percentage, but she's smaller than the higher percentage. They're the same age. They've been fed the same regimen as far as like proportionally to their body and what looks healthy for them. There's a lot to it with bloodlines and parents and grandparents. Percentages are important and can be important, but there's a whole lot into it that dictates animal size.
I've kind of shied away from the percentage dwarfs because I'm just afraid that I'm going to get something that's mainlandish, and then I'm going to get attached to it, and then it's going to eat one of my kids, and then I'm going to be conflicted about what to do. Get rid of it.
Well, there is a big difference. Basically, I think if you are comfortable with, say, an 8-foot boa, I think that's going to be overall size comparable to an 11, 12-foot retic because they're so much more slender. My 9-foot girl fits in one arm with, a coil or two over my forearm. I sent Holly some pictures of her on my shoulder before. Yeah. They're really manageable. Once you get past 13, you get into 14, 15. At that point, they do grow pretty fast as far as girth in comparison to the smaller ones. Right. The locality crosses seem to be a lot more slender than the mainlands. And again, food can vary that, but just like anybody, I could be 50 pounds heavier, 50 pounds lighter based on my diet, but 20 pounds lighter might be healthy, but 50 pounds wouldn't. So
yeah, fair enough.
So,
but it's all, I think the biggest thing, if anybody is looking into it, is talk to the breeders, make sure they're transparent, give you all the data, what percentages came from the sire versus the dam. Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah,
but she's definitely a good 9-foot animal. And maybe is, I would say, a little smaller around than a pop can.
Okay, that's not that. Yeah, that's not that girthy.
But she's she'll be 6 this year, April 1st, I believe, if I remember right. She'll be 6 years old because 2019. But I talk to a breeder, whomever you can get a hold of, get their experience, and then ask around within the community. Vouch and verify the information you're getting. There's a lot of good people. The community's really grown, and there's a ton of people out there that are willing to help. Just like all the reptile niches, it used to be a lot harder to get straightforward, truthful, transparent help. And in the last 5-7 years, especially, and even a little bit before that, I think we've come a very long way as far as transparency. I mean, podcasts like what you guys do is a huge part of it because it gives good access to good information. And I tell everybody, take in all the information you can from every source and then siphon out what is questionable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can learn from everybody, even if it's what not to do.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, question. Holly, can you go back to that picture, the first picture of Jordan holding the dwarf retic? Yeah. So question, does owning a dwarf retic make you look like Garrett Hartle? You look like Garrett Hartle in this picture.
Well, right now he's got a pretty, he's got a substantial mustache right now. So I can say I'll never have that. Actually, I purchased her from Garrett. And I have a handful of other animals from Garrett as well. And I have animals from other people too. Yeah, I've been out there. I helped with the big enclosure container they built for Karma, the big mainland platinum. I did all the welding on that for him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but am I wrong? Am I right though? I think he looks like Garrett Hartle in this picture. Do you guys agree?
Yeah. I was gonna ask you.
Garrett Hartle smile. He's got that kind of. Yeah, there you go. I think they're related.
So, guys, we need to play our sponsor video really quick, and then we will get back to it.
If you need to accelerate your breeding plans, use Charlie at Gray Rider Reptiles for fast and reliable shed testing services. His testing services offer both speed and accuracy, ensuring that you receive dependable results in a timely manner. As a valued customer, he is happy to offer you a 15% discount on your purchase. Visit www.shedtesting.com and use code Texoma15 during checkout to take advantage of the offer. Limit of 2 users per customer.
Sammy, a ball python breeder with a specialty in the pied project. When you meet him, don't be shy to ask questions about his snakes, as he loves to share his knowledge and experience with others. He is a friendly and approachable guy who is always happy to chat with fellow reptile enthusiasts. Whether you are a seasoned snake breeder or just starting out, Sammy is the perfect person to connect with if you are interested in the pied project. So keep a lookout for that hot pink shirt.
Python Suzy. He's been professionally fondling pythons since April 2024. Before that, it was just for fun. He has balls and golans, and soon he'll have dwarf Burmese pythons in his collection. He loves dark clowns, leopards, and long walks on the beach with sunsets. He thinks orange dream and blackhead are salt and pepper on a good steak. Hit him up. He'll talk about just about anything.
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
Ready?
So, Travis, I have a question for you. Are you ready?
I am always ready.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and do it, dude. Now, Jordan, to let you know, Tyler cheats on this,
No, I
okay?
don't.
He cheats. I think him and Travis get together before the show and they figure out all the answers. So
No.
it's me and you against Tyler.
All right.
I also have to say this is my favorite part of the week. You know?
I would hook Tyler up if Tyler would give me a discount.
I'll give you a discount.
I know you will. Just
My
drag
hands
it
will
out.
stay up, so you know my phone's over here. So you know.
So before I get started on this week's, though, I gotta correct my mistake from last week. So last week, I was off my game. I'd been sick, and I had got confused between the most prolific reptile versus the most prolific snake. So I wanted to clarify that the green sea turtle is the most prolific reptile. It's the king of the king as far as procreation goes. 200 egg clutches on an annual basis. And
So I was
I want to point that out. The most prolific snake was the common garter snake with 80, what do you want to call them?
80 babies in a
snakes
litter.
Do they do a live birth? I feel like
Yeah,
they do live birth.
80 a litter.
Yeah, so 80 snakes per litter. So I wanted to just make that clarification before I got going. So now that brings us to this week. But yeah, I got to be able to see everybody's face because I need to see who's cheating and who isn't. Because Tyler, especially, he has a tell. I know when he's cheating, which is every time.
You're a cheater.
Well, I had to take out the word litter in there when you were asking, so I at least had one answer for this. You know.
There you go, litter. You know what? I got to get that straight. I bred dogs for a while too. You think I'd know that the word litter is appropriate in those situations? I got hit in the head a lot as a kid, like I told you. And I was raised as an only kid, though, which I think was really hard for my brother.
Oh my god!
All right, so I may have covered this before, but I'm going to do it again. Do you guys recall what the smartest reptile is?
I believe I know.
Okay, Jordan, you can go first with your guess.
My guess would be the king cobra.
That's a pretty good guess. Tyler?
I mean, broad answer, but monitor lizards.
Monitor lizards. Okay. Holly?
Crocodilians. Crocodilians are pretty damn smart.
It's damn sure not a ball python. Okay.
No, they're not smart.
Yeah.
So, oh lordy, I really don't know. Rattlesnake.
I'm gonna switch my answer. I'm gonna switch my
All right.
answer. Crocodilians. Switch my answer.
Oh, okay. So,
No, Tyler.
King cobras and crocodilians make honorable mention.
Ah, damn.
So apparently, crocodiles have really good reasoning capacity. They are crocodilians. They've got a really developed prefrontal cortex or something, so they can do a little bit more problem solving than other reptiles. I guess I still don't consider them smart by like mammalian standards because we're top of the top. King cobra is kind of the same way. There was an experiment done over in Indonesia somewhere where some Indonesian biologist was had a king cobra in a big enclosure and was putting different types of stimuli in the enclosure. and it paid attention to the opening and noticed that he wasn't locking the opening. And so when he looked away, the snake shot through the opening and got out. So
That's crazy.
that's pretty smart, you know.
Oh yeah.
That pales in comparison to the monitor lizards. I don't know which monitor lizard is the smarter.
1 and 2, baby. Come on.
But this is what a monitor lizard is capable of doing. They have apparently, it's been proven that they can count snails. I don't know if they can count other things, and I don't know how you know that they're counting. I don't know if they say it out loud or what, but they can count snails. They 100% recognize their owners, and they have been observed using different parts of their body, like their elbows, to get at insects and other things, like in logs and in crevices and things like that. I don't know how. I think it'd be harder to use your elbow to get in to get something than to use your hands, but I don't know. That's just what it said. So that's the little trivia fact for the smartest reptile. Now we'll go into the fastest reptile. What is the world's fastest reptile? Start with you again, Jordan.
Oh, my mind goes to snakes, but that I don't feel like that could be right. Are talking like long distance, like quick burst?
So
Speed in
water or
miles
land?
per hour. It could be a quick burst. It could be, I mean, it's got to be measurable in miles per hour. So
And
Okay.
are we talking water or land as well? Because I think that changes.
we're just talking Earth.
Perfect.
I don't know.
I have a guess. It's the one that flails out their
Hold on, Holly. Jordan's still
little
going. It's not
hooties.
your turn. You got to hold
little
on, Holly.
Hey, it's my podcast. I get to go.
Oh.
So
Oh,
I don't know what they're called. Earl from LSR has them, and those things are so freaking fast, and they'll stand up on their back legs and run.
Frilled dragons.
I think it's a basilisk.
For the basilisks.
Yeah, that like run on water or
Yeah,
whatever.
the basilisk can run on water.
Jesus.
I was gonna think of like a reptile or a lizard of some sort. My first cheat answer was gonna be what is it, the puff adder that has the fastest strike in the world or something.
Yeah.
But no, I would guess a basilisk or some kind of lizard running on its hind legs.
All right. What about you, Tyler?
I got 2 answers. Black mamba for snake. I know that one's the fastest snake. And then I'm gonna go with crocodilians again in water. Like it's gotta,
I could see that. However,
I'm wrong. Great.
yes, you're wrong.
But what about sea turtles in water?
They can't
Yeah.
swim 21 miles per hour.
What goes 21 miles an hour, Travis?
The fastest reptile goes to the lizard, the black spiny-tailed iguana. I didn't know there's such a thing existed.
those before. That
21 miles per hour.
Wow.
Was it the spiny?
That's like your grandma driving to Target. That's what that is.
Weren't those the ones in the video with all the garter snakes trying
Yeah.
to?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're thinking same video.
That's
Apparently,
a
it's
wild.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the black mamba, 12 to 15 miles per hour. Now how do you get away from something like that?
Luck.
You don't.
Head start.
They
How
don't.
fast, how fast can we run? Like 11 miles an hour or something like that? Like normal people, not like the.
I don't know.
I think it would be slower than that, even if it was a normal person, because we're
Oh,
slow.
what's up?
Man, I'm glad I don't live in Africa. So there you go. So there's that. Now I got the last one. I found this one really interesting. What constrictor, as in boa constrictor or python, is the most northernmost species, aka lives in the coldest climate?
I go last.
That you can count me out on that. I don't even have a guess.
Jordan?
My first thought was going to be what is it, like a ground or rubber boa? There's some boas I know that I've heard are up in Canada even, but I don't know Canada that well. I mean, it could be in a warmer spot. That would be my guess, is like one of those small rubber ground boas.
Tyler?
I don't even have an answer to
No.
this.
All right.
Go to Holly, and then I'll come back to me.
Dude, I don't even. I'm saying garden snake. It's not even a boa, right?
Garden snake's not a bad guess, actually. They've been found up
okay.
in the Arctic Circle.
Okay.
But Jordan gets 10,000 points, not redeemable anywhere. It is the rubber boa.
Wow.
They
That's
are
awesome.
endemic to northern United States and Canada through British Columbia.
Use
So there you
those.
go, Jordan. Congratulations. You can take those 10,000 points and shove them somewhere.
Oh no, that means you get $10,000 off of Travis's snakes babies.
Awesome. I'll be in touch, Travis.
Yep, that $10,000 will bring you down to $350 left over.
For a normal.
Yeah, but it's been trained.
That's
the
great.
smartest ball python.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
breed for
really
intelligence.
good. Travis, I got another one for you. Since
What's
our other co-host is not here, did you come up with a joke?
Oh, I've been working on jokes. I did get distracted. A friend of mine, he's blind. I bought him a cheese grater the other day. It was the most violent book he ever read.
Oh my gosh, you're terrible.
Well, I'm having a hard time, living in this new world, right? Because back in my day, you always open the door for a woman. Now, last woman I opened the door for, she didn't appreciate it. She just screamed as she flew out the plane.
Oh my gosh, you're terrible.
Dude, you're going different directions than I think they're going every time.
Every time. Leave it up to Travis. He's a hoot, man.
Yeah, what do you say? What do you say? There you go.
Okay. So
Back to
Jordan,
business?
back to business. We got a little comfortable there, cracking up our little jokes and Travis and his fun facts. So back to your snakes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you do ball pythons any?
I've had a ball python in the past. I had one in college. But no, at this point, the only thing I have are the retics and the one hognose. I have a dog and 2 cats and a 4-year-old, but other than that,
the wildest creature out there.
Yeah, strictly the retics for me. They're the passion and the focus. I really love to get into emerald tree boas someday.
Yeah.
I can still remember the Nat Geo cover from when I was a kid. I mean, it's burned into my brain.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Same with the retics. It wasn't a Nat Geo cover, but it was a David Attenborough show, I'm pretty sure. We only had 4 channels, so PBS and nature stuff was what was available and the best stuff to watch. And seeing a retic for the first time, I was just blown away. But, all they knew of back then was mainlands. And I remember, these are 20+ foot long animals. So at that point, they were written off as a zoo species. So,
yeah.
So is that when you were, getting into reptiles, was it always like, what caught you right in with the retics? Like, why them? Even though I know you saw them as a kid, all that stuff, but there's hundreds of species of things to keep.
Right. I always, like a lot of people, I like what I consider to be a pretty animal. But I've been blessed with some really great pets, dogs and cats. So there needs to be an intellectual side. I love my little hognose, but God bless her, there is not much going on upstairs. And the retics are just different for me. I had a panther chameleon. I loved him, but that's an animal that I'm a feeder. He does not really care. He did not care to interact, and he would tolerate it. I have retics that when I come in the room, they're at the glass and they expect time out and time to crawl and explore me. They blew me away. Honestly, my first one that I bought, I had never touched a retic before.
So you bought one before you'd like ever held it in person? You just got it shipped to you and you're like, yeah, this is it.
I did probably a year and a half or 2 years worth of research first, but
Okay,
yeah.
there we go.
Well, that's good though.
That's good at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
there's
did a
so many
whole lot of
people
research.
in this industry. It doesn't matter what type of snake it is. They do not do their research. They'll either go to a show, show up at your business, want an animal, and then like, okay, what do I need to keep this animal in? And it just starts from there. It's such a snowball. I think everybody should absolutely do their research. And if you're selling an animal and you're not letting the people know what they need before you sell them an animal, shame on you.
Yeah. I've turned people away, or tried to help redirect them and, you know, say, hey, maybe now's not the right time. Maybe your next place, if you get a new apartment, get a new house, got more space. Or I've told people, hey, I think we need to step back and do a little more research and learn a little bit more. It's easy to get excited about a pretty animal and want to pull the trigger, especially when it's a cute little baby. But even the dwarf and super dwarfs, to a lot of people, I think they're very manageable, but I'm kind of desensitized to them, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm fighting a sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
But I've heard a lot of people recently, and I do tend to agree, say a retic can be a good first starter. And I'm using retics as what I keep. Just like I believe any animal within reason. Now, I'm not going to say venomous, stuff like that. But I think if you're really passionate about a species and you put in the time and really do your due diligence to learn about them, I think you're better off doing that and getting something you're really excited about once you've well educated yourself than you are saying, okay, I know I want a boa or a python at some point, but I'm going to start with a corn snake to break myself in. Now, I got the hognose as an icebreaker for my wife, but I knew I loved reptiles and I was going to be excited about her regardless.
So you treat your poor wife, is what you're saying.
Well,
you went from a corn snake to
tricked her. She's known about everything I've been doing, and she's a saint. She tolerates me and supports me. I mean, she's an animal lover, but she knows that it's my passion and what I really enjoy. So she lets me, you know, within reason, go free with it.
Right.
But no, whether it's a ball python, a colubrid, whatever it might be, if you're passionate about it, you're going to put the time in, I believe, or I hope, to do the research about what it entails. Some people really just want a snake to sit on their lap while they're watching TV at night and something that's going to hang out. Yeah. Ball python and some other species are perfect for that. A retic is not. So it's all about finding what you want, what you're looking for out of the animal. I wanted animals that need interaction and need to engage with stuff. That it just excites me more. I was worried with, you know, stuff that's more sedentary that I might lose interest in them if they lose interest in me, for lack of a better way to say it.
That's a good point.
Has anyone ever like inquired on a retic from you and you just been like, your response been like, I don't know, maybe, you know, go get a ball python or something, you know, like.
I've definitely, you know, tried to suggest other avenues or other species for people. And some people really think they want a retic, but it's not the right fit, whether it's their current, you know, living situation or whatever it may be. And so, there's one of my favorite things to do is people ask, hey, do you know about this? Like if someone was to come to me and say, hey, do you know about hognose? Well, I know my buddy Alvaro at Clover Exotics works with him and is really passionate about him. Start there, you know, or whomever it may be with any given species. I just like talking to people about reptiles and I like hearing their passion, which is why I like talking retics with people, because it excites me. But whatever people are into, I think the best thing we can do for the community is help steer towards that keeper's lifestyle and what they are really wanting as far as an interaction and a pet more than the appearance. It's great to have a pretty animal, but if it doesn't fit what you thought you were going to have as far as interaction, then you're probably going to be unhappy.
Right. So you have how many species of animals right now at your home or where your facility, wherever?
It's all at home. It's just I've got 17 dwarf and super dwarf crosses. One of those is a true mainland, but just the Myelopython reticulatus, Jampianus, or Saputrii or reticulatus, and then the plains hognose is just the other one.
It identifies as a retic.
I'm sorry?
The hognose identifies as a retic.
She might think she is. She's louder than my retics by far, and she's a little shoelace compared to them.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
When did you decide to get mainland? And is it a male or a female?
It's a male. I got a pair. I did that late last year. So I was in for a good 5 years before I did that. As far as researching, I had been in 7 years. But I wanted to know that I was capable of providing what it needed as it grows. They grow much faster. They get much bigger. Mm-hmm. The reason that I did it is I really like the blue hypomorph. And I wanted to start taking that into the dwarf and super dwarf crosses and make it what I consider to be a more manageable snake. The biggest thing with the mainlands, if you're breeding, the clutch sizes are massive, right? So you have to have a plan. Some people may not like this mentality, but I grew up in the country, and I think some of us need a little bit more farmer mentality. Sometimes animals can be friendly and can be food, but it shouldn't go to waste regardless. So, I before I took on this venture, I spoke to a good friend, and he has a lot of dry marcon. I said, I need to know that if I do this, I have a place where I can send animals that will be used as food. At least I'm not going to take this on and just either throw out eggs or, worse yet, cull animals just based on what I'm getting out of it. I don't like that, but the fact of the matter is if we want these things into the smaller animals, you have to breed them to get the morphs. And some of those you can't really let out, because if you do, then all the years you've got into the project, somebody's on the same page as you from day one. It sounds harsh, but that was my biggest thing, is I had to have a plan for all the potential offspring.
So you were talking about, being country or whatever. Do you breed your own reptiles? Sorry, not reptiles, rodents.
I don't do the rodents. Everything is in-house, literally. The house, when we bought it, it was like this room was built for a reptile room. It's right off the back. It has its own mini split, separate electrical and all that. So I got really lucky with that. I don't do the rodents because I don't have anywhere to do it. Even if I had somewhere to do it, I don't know that I want to mess with it. I know I pay a whole lot more, and I know I'd save a ton of money. But at this point, there's no chance. Maybe if I do this full time, maybe, but that's a whole different world of work and stink. And
you're trading time for money when you do that. When you breed your own. I just got into doing live just because a lot of the breeders that I want to buy snakes from, they already feed live. And I've got several snakes. I do frozen thawed, and I've got several snakes that it took months and months to get them transitioned. And I have one that she's never transitioned. And so I'm like, well, I got to have that kind of capability at least, so that I can feed live when I need to. But I also have my own source where I can do frozen thawed from my own stock that I've produced. Because, just in the time that I've just started doing this, I haven't even been in it in a year yet. And I'm this good looking. I've already seen the price of rats go up. I think it's gone up twice. So, I'm like,
Yeah.
this went from like being super cheap to feed a ball python for a year to it literally does have to be factored in, especially if you've got more than a couple.
It does. Plus, like in our situation where we're at, we don't have a lot of rodent breeders. So I actually make more money off of my rodents than I do my snakes.
It's good for a rodent breeder, not good for a snake breeder.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very blessed I get to breed my own rodents. Absolutely.
I'm not. I hate them, but they're a necessary evil. I have African soft furs right now, and I have 13 mice.
13 mice.
I don't do mice at all. They stink
I'm big time. I'm just starting my mouse colony. I'm going to have mice and ASFs.
Alex,
the ASFs are not African soft furred rats. They are always seeking freedoms. Little criminal escape artists.
I know he's not in the chat, but yeah, I know he's not in the chat. But Alex from Alex is Rockin' Reptiles helped me set up another like 70 colonies of mice today. So
Alex, you're a blessing, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do have way too many damn mice.
Way too many what?
Way too many damn mice. I have like 180, 200 colonies of them.
So why would you keep on with mice when you know that ASFs and rodents or rats are like nutrition wise are better for a snake than just a mouse?
Well, I might know that, but I will send you a picture of something in our private chat to tell you exactly why I continue to breed mice.
Hey, Peter.
Peter Williams. Oh my gosh, 7,000 rodents.
Oh,
yeah.
7,000. He supplies all of Canada.
Oh my gosh, that's a big job. I would not want to have his job cleaning rat racks every freaking day because
he's somebody we got to get on the show too because he's got an interesting story as well. But
absolutely, Peter, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and apologize for this. I had a misunderstanding. I didn't know you wanted to be on this week, and been going through a lot. Please reach out to me on IG, and we will get you scheduled as soon as possible. There we go.
Right. Back to Jordan. A question I didn't get a chance to ask you previously is, what made you decide to get into making enclosures? Like, how did that whole thing start? I know you do it as a business, or you as a day job, but what made you decide to do it as a business, and how is it doing?
What really spurred it is I was frustrated with waiting, how much PVC cost, how long it took. Now, this was 2020, 2021, when it was way worse than it is now. I think it's gotten better, but you're still spending a lot of money, especially, 8 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot enclosure for a dwarf retic is not inexpensive. And it took forever, and I saw it stain and it started to sag, and I want something that's one and done. So I started building them for myself. It was just something I felt that I could do. I could get a better quality product and not have to mess with it again. And then I just figured, well, if I'm making these, I'll offer them up for market. The big stuff, I've done some really cool enclosures for people. I built a 8 foot by 2.5 by 3.5 foot tall monitor enclosure with like an 8-inch substrate dam, so his monitor can dig. And then that attaches to a porthole on the side of his building where he's got an outdoor run for the monitor, which is just amazing. The same setup went to my local zoo, and they put their red tail boa in it. Wow. So I was really pumped. I mean, that's the zoo I grew up going to, and I take my son to now. So it's cool to see one of my enclosures there.
I want to pop up your picture again, just so people know when you see this Heartland Reptiles logo at a show, you need to go talk to him. Look at his enclosures, y'all. They are amazing. They are heavy duty. I can't say any more about them. Like when I seen them, like I said, I fell head over heels, and I was dragging my husband over there, like, buy me this, this, and this. And he's like, yeah, you're going to have to wait.
Oh, you know what else? You got to talk to Potter to get yourself in the actual room because I didn't even catch you at St. Louis last time because you were in the hall.
Yeah. Well, I was in, but I was in the back corner when I was in St. Louis.
Okay.
The first show I did was Arlington before they moved it to Dallas back in like October, the year of what had been 23, I think.
Yep.
And I literally, I had sent in a request, but they had already closed it down. I loaded everything up in a U-Haul trailer, and I had a custom trailer built to haul all my enclosures, and it finished, I'm not exaggerating, the week after I returned from the show. So I loaded everything up, and I just begged them to let me vend. And they let me in, which was wonderful.
Right. Tyler, you want to answer your friend here?
Go back and watch the goddamn podcast. No.
You get him, Tyler.
But Travis, no, they're doing a lot better. The smaller stuff has started to move a lot more. It's a more reasonable price point. Just because it is smaller, it's still very heavy duty compared to what's out there. But you look at the stuff I do for the retics. I donated a 6-foot to the US Arc auction in Arlington. Vanessa laid on the floor, Brittany literally laid on the shelf, and then Phil Goss and I stood on top of it while they auctioned it off. So between the four of us, the gals are small, but I'm 220 pounds. Phil's tall. We're well over 600 pounds on it, and it's nothing.
And you buy it once, you're done. You don't have to ever make another purchase for an enclosure like that.
So, and it was driven by my personal stance. I'd rather spend more up front and know I have a quality product. That's just me in general, than have to repeat. I'm hoping to get 30 years out of my retics. Well, that's realistically 3 or 4 enclosures. So by the time I do that for each one of these turns out cheaper in the long run.
Right.
Yeah, we've got this one that's just really, really cheap aluminum frame and particle board.
Yep. But the small stuff's moving faster. Chondro people, their animals are very high dollars. So spending a few bucks more on an enclosure, I think, is relatively less of an impact for them. But I'd love to see our hobby follow kind of the saltwater community in that, they put so much money, time, and effort into those tanks. And it may not even have fish in it, right? It might just be a coral tank.
Or reef tanks.
I'm speaking out of my backside, but I'd love to see reptile people do the same. I think Abby, the curly hair keeper, is doing an awesome job with all of her full bioactive setups for retics. I'm not saying everybody needs to do that, or frankly, everybody could, but I like to see the trend we're seeing where people are doing more for fewer animals, especially if you're just a keeper, than just having tons and tons and tons of animals. I breed and I have space limitations, but that's why I did the playground, is I wanted to give them an additional exercise area where if my time's taken somewhere else, I can open that up and I know they're secure and safe, but they can still get that exercise and enrichment.
And so on your enclosures, they come in 2 different colors, correct?
Yeah, the 2 standard colors are white and then that nocturnal gold, which is the black with a little bit of gold flake. I've done a Sierra tan. Other colors are doable. It may take a little more time, or it may have a little bit of an upcharge depending on what color. But luckily, it's like selecting a paint. You can basically pick color, and if you have the time and want to spend whatever extra it costs, we can make it in any color you want. I've had people, I think it's a joke, but want candy apple red. We can do it.
There you go, y'all. It's going to upcharge you, but it's well worth it. They are amazing enclosures. I'm telling you, I'm ready for Travis to go see one in person. And he's going to call me. He's going to be like, Holly, you wasn't lying.
No, I definitely understand it. By the way, I used to do saltwater, so I definitely understand, the motivation to make the tank itself as high end as possible, because it really does help with presentation. Like you were pointing out, Holly, you got a really nice high end animal that's beautiful, that's just a pleasure to look at, and then you got it in like a little, cheapo tank like that, it doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely am all on board on this. And
with Jordans, it looks like it's so easy to move anywhere in your room. Like I was saying, the canisters are bigger. It just looks like hey, okay, I'm a female. I move furniture. We're known for that. We can't go in the living room and be happy with it sitting in the same place. We want to move it around. We want to make it pretty. And that's where I really love your stuff, because it's easily moved.
Yep. Yeah, they all have the locking casters. So once it's in place, you don't have to worry about if you bump it, it's not going to roll away on you. But the shows, any picture on my Instagram, I set all those setups up by myself. So I wheel everything in and wheel it all out all by myself. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm sweating by the end of it, but that's moving an entire booth worth of stuff out of my trailer and into the show. Okay. So to move one and set it up, if you're just bringing it in the house, it's relatively easy. I believe they're lighter than most PVC. Lucas has told me that my 6 foot is lighter than, I can't remember the brand, but of a 5 foot PVC that he has. Right. Mm-hmm. I do all of mine 2.5 foot. Well, not all of them, but the bigger stuff is all 2.5 foot deep, partially because you can reach the back of it without crawling into it, but also it'll fit through all interior, like modern interior doors. I've had a lot of people say, hey, I want a 3 foot. I'll build it for you, but go measure your doorway. Every single person.
Your door's 33 inches.
Yeah, it won't fit. So I'll build whatever, but you got to make sure it fits in a house.
So a question on heating. Since that's powder coated aluminum, it's not going to transfer heat as readily as some other materials. How do you heat it?
I initially, with the stacks and stuff, I wanted to test and vet out. I put heat tape on the back with foil-faced insulation to force it into the enclosure. And I like that because you have more of I believe more of a gradient, because the heat is against the wall from top to bottom. They can go on the shelf, which is going to be a little warmer just because of the heat rise. But you can mount radiant heat panels in them. You drill through it the same as you would PVC. Drill bit at a high speed and just let the weight of the drill do the work. And then I use Chicago screws, kind of the screw together screws to mount anything inside of them. But
heat tape does a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I ran it for 7 or 8 months with my animals in it to make sure that it was efficient. Well, that it would work well for the animals. And it did just fine. Since I have that room with the mini split, I run ambient now.
Right.
But I do still have one of them here in the kind of living room area downstairs, and it's mine, and it has 24-inch heat tape on the back. It's an 8 foot wide enclosure.
Gotcha.
Very nice. So guys, we're over an hour now. Any final questions for Jordan?
Yeah. What are your plans in the next couple of years? I mean, you looking to expand? Where do you want to take it?
I'd love to be able to do Heartland Reptiles full time. That was always the pipe dream, but part of the benefit of the enclosures is it affords me the ability to not have to, while pursuing that goal, I know I don't have to rely on animal sales. I worry about that and what it can bring. If we all have to feed our family, and if it comes down to it, I don't want to say people would sell things they normally wouldn't, but it may shift or influence a decision. I don't want to have that pressure. So I would love nothing more than the enclosures to be the bread and butter. And I'll continue to grow with sizes. If I built every enclosure somebody suggested would be a perfect size for the next groundbreaking idea, I'd have 100 of them in my garage that nobody wanted.
Yep.
So it's just kind of growing by demand. But yeah, I'd love to build the enclosures, do that as the full-time bread and butter, and afford myself the ability to play with the snakes and breed what I want and how I want, and really take my time and just enjoy that side of it.
Absolutely.
So instead of breeding rats to make extra money on the side, you want to make enclosures. I
That's
think
it.
that is a much, much better value proposition.
Well, and
It does
with
sound better.
resticks, I don't want to be breeding rabbits and pigs and chickens and all that.
Neighborhood children. Yeah.
I've got a coworker who his family raises meat rabbits, and so when they get stillborns, I get those and freeze them for a certain number of months to make sure that they're safe, and it's a good local source. I know the intake the animals are getting. His family's eating them, so I think they're okay for my snakes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, I am so thankful you come on the podcast tonight. I look forward to seeing you in Dallas in March. Well, this is March already, isn't it? My daughter's over here. I'm talking to her. I'm not talking to myself. I do want to take some more pictures of your stuff when I come, and would love to get you out there more, man. I love your products. Like I said, when I seen it, I fell in love, and hopefully one day. So.
Well, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much. It's great to meet you all. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks, Holly.
All right, man. We'll see everybody later. Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
See you later, Internet.